Welcome back, everyone. We've been joined by the applicants and some more residents, and I know a couple more have joined online. So just to say again, I'm Councillor James Henton. I'll be chairing the meeting. We're now going to move on to declarations. Are there any declarations of interest, please? If there are, Nadine, could you take them, please? Councillor Richards.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr, thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to declare a personal interest. A fellow councillor contacted me on behalf of a resident regarding this application in my ward. Just to let you know, I have not discussed or influenced the application, and I did advise the councillor to direct the resident to the licensing team, which I believe they have done from looking at the pack. So just to let you know, I will always remain completely impartial.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. Nadine will send you the electronic form. Moving on to agenda item 3, urgent items. There are none. Moving on to agenda item 4. This is the application for a new premises licence. You can find it on pages 3 to 67 of the circulated report pack, and it's here for decision. Miss Cody, could you please introduce the report?
Chair, sorry to interrupt. Can we do introductions, please?
Oh yeah, sorry, Owen. Yeah, we'll do introductions now. Obviously, I'm Councillor James Henton, Chair. Go to a left.
I'm Councillor Suzanne Patterson, and I'm a member of the subcommittee.
I'm Billy
Morgan, current committee member and interested party in the project.
Thank you.
Connor David, committee member of the interested parties.
Just to clarify, the committee of their group, not anything to do with the council.
Right. Thank you.
My name is Adrian Davis. I'm a former resident, 181 Ynysmina Road. Not living there now because due to some years ago, the team was previously using it. Issues, and I moved because of stress.
Thank
I'm
you.
also,
if you can just
Angela's brother. Yeah, that covers everything.
My name's Angela Harvard. I've lived in 185 all of my life. My parents lived there before me, and my grandparents. I'm 3rd generation in this house, along with other residents that live locally. They're 2nd and 3rd generations as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You'll be able to make representations further in.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gavin White. I'm a solicitor and I'm clerk to the licensing subcommittee.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nick Bailey. I am a civilian police licensing officer for South West Police with responsibility for the Neath Talbot area.
Morning, everyone. My name is Catherine Fordy. I'm one of the legal regulatory officers for Neath Talbot.
Morning, I'm Matthew Checker. I'm Democratic Services Officer.
Morning, my name is Nadine Jones and I'm Democratic Services Officer.
Thank you all. We'll now go to Miss Cody to introduce the report.
On the line, please, Chair.
All right, okay. Apologies. We'll do introductions online as well. Start with Councillor Richards.
Yeah, I'm Councillor Anthony John Richards. I'm the chair of the committee, but as I am unable to attend in the office in the room today, I have asked Councillor Henton to take the chair of the session. I will pass to Jerry.
Hi, I'm Jerry Ellis. I live at 181 Ynysmina Road. It may not be clear from looking at the pictures and things, but also my garden is next door to the Boys and Girls Club. I'll pass to Phoebe.
Phoebe, can you do this, please?
Yeah.
Should we go on to Christopher James? That's okay, please.
Hi, yeah, my name's Christopher James. I'm a resident of 179 Ynysmeadow Road. My wife can't be here today, so I'm filling in for her.
Okay.
Who's your wife, please, Mr. James? Mr. James, who's your wife, please?
Sorry, Shari.
Thank you, Shari Stewart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Phoebe Moore, can you hear us, please?
Sorry, I dipped out then. I just joined back in. Yeah, I'm from the.
And you go.
I'm afraid we've lost you again, Phoebe. Yeah, if we go on to Cian Pickman, please.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Cian Pickman. I live in close Nantley, just next to the boys' club, so I've got quite a close interest.
Thank you, Mr. Pickman. And Lewis Reddy.
Chris, can you hear us, please?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll move on now. So now we'll go to Ms. Cody, if she can please introduce the report.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning, all. Agenda item 4 is an application for a new premises licence and a Ynysmeadow Boys and Girls Club located at Ynysmeadow Road, Pontardawe, SA8 4QD. The applicant is Ynysmeadow Boys and Girls Club, and the proposed designated premises supervisor is Ms. Anthony Morgan. Members will note from the report that the application is applying for the following licensable activities: permit the sale of alcohol on the premises between the hours of 9 AM to midnight Monday to Sunday, late night refreshments from 9 AM to midnight Monday to Sunday, and regulated entertainment from 9 AM to midnight Monday to Sunday. The application resulted in representations from South Wales Police and Legal Regulatory Officer, being the licensing officer, who requested additional conditions to be attached to the licence. The applicant has agreed to the imposition of the conditions set out in Appendix 1 and 2 of the report. The conditions include reducing the hours to include the supply of alcohol to 10:30, 22:30, with a terminal hour of 11 PM, allowing for a 30-minute drinking up period. In addition, members will note that representations for local residents were also received and are attached at Appendix 3 to 7 of the report as well. In response to the residents' representation, the applicant submitted a response. All are attached at Appendix 8 to 12 of the report. However, in addition, further submission was received from Angela Harvard on behalf of residents living at 179, 181, 184 and 185 of Ynysmeadow in support of their original representations, and this was circulated to all parties on Friday. Over the weekend, further submissions have been received from the applicant in response to the above, and also the applicant has included a number of documents supporting the application, which have been made available to parties this morning, hence the delay of the hearing. Please be aware some residents are unable to attend the meeting, and therefore members are reminded that the written representations need to be considered in full during the hearing today. Members are also reminded that only information that relates, and I must highlight this, relates to one of the 4 licensable objectives that can be considered relevant. There is one point to also make clear here, and that we have received a number of documents in relation to the application that refer to the premises in question by a variety of names. And this is Ynysmeadow Boys and Girls Club, Ynysmeadow Football Club, the Wellness Community Hub, or a Community Hub. I just must remind everybody present here today that the application that has been applied for under the name of Ynysmeadow Boys and Girls Club. Therefore, it is that of Ynysmeadow Boys and Girls Club that will be solely responsible and accountable for the premises licence if granted today. The recommendations today is that the application is determined after hearing and considering all oral and written submissions. That is it for me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cody. Before we ask for whether anyone has questions on the report, we've just had someone join us. Nathan, could you introduce yourself, please?
Nathan, can you hear us, please?
We'll just move on. Does anyone have any questions on the report only, please?
Yeah, Chair. Thank you. One of the questions I have in the report, Ms. Cody is intimating that the DPS will be Anthony Morgan. That's not consistent with the application. On the application, it was noted that it would be a Rebecca Buff. Just want to clarify, has there been a change and at what point was that change made? Certainly my response, I'll just make sure I've got the right. Okay, sorry, Chair.
No problem, thanks, Nick. Does anyone else have any questions for report only? In that case, we're going to move on then. So now, in accordance with procedure for today's meeting. Oh, sorry, Councillor Richards.
Yes, sorry, Chair. I didn't hear what the response was to Nick's point.
It was an error on my part, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. Now, in accordance with procedure for today's meeting, there will now be an opportunity for all parties submit statements. Once all statements have been made, there will be an opportunity for questions. So we'll now take a statement from the applicant, please.
So these are already been written on our statements. Our statements already shared. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't like to add anything other than what we've got. Other than what we've already disclosed, there's nothing to add.
Yeah. Did everyone at home hear that? Okay.
As long as they have Friday's emails.
I would just remind yourself just to speak up a little bit louder.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
Obviously Friday's emails, I assume, have been shared with the neighbours, which is this one's, and that's our response.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll now move on to statements from residents, please. We'll start with you in the room, please.
Chair, if I just sorry to interrupt. I think what needs to be really clear in this sense is any person who's made written representations can make oral representations, but if there's someone new who hasn't made representations, you can't really hear that because it's not fair. So, for example, I'm aware that Miss Harvard has made representations, and of course, Mr. Davis hasn't. If, for example, Miss Harvard, you want Mr. Davis to make representations on your behalf, that's fine. But effectively, it's either you make a representation.
No, it's okay. I can speak.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Sorry, Chair.
No, thank you, Gavin. Miss Harvard, if you'd like to make any statements to the committee.
Other than what we've put in, I don't like the fact that we've been accused of falsifying evidence. In this letter now, one of the residents went and took a walk around the playing fields, and according to this, it was rubbish that we've dumped to take the photos. This is not so. You know, we've been accused of a lot of things that we haven't done. We broke the fridge that had been there for nearly 6 months, well, 5 months. We broke that damage.
There's an accusation of vandalism.
Yeah, but from the resident.
I'm not sure these products were in usable condition. Maybe a fridge freezer, you're talking CFCs left out near a public footpath. So unless any of these products, unless they can have prosecution.
proof, and we certainly didn't do it. There's been enough rubbish left by them without making more
So
rubbish.
I think there's a
Do you have any
range of
statements to
accusations
make
that
in
discredit.
relevance to the licensing objectives?
No, apart from they're lying through these, all other lies that they say, yeah.
That misrepresent things better, isn't it?
Yeah,
Lying,
sorry.
can't prove lying, you can prove
No.
misrepresentation.
Sorry. Oh, people
I think I'm going to save us a whole lot of time here now. The application for a license is another part of the whole problem. Now, as a licensing committee, those issues are not under your jurisdiction as such, but they are relevant to why we've objected to the license.
That's fine, but then you need to make any representations which are relevant to the licensing.
Yeah, which we have as residents.
I think regarding
yes.
your vandalism and things like that, certainly from a human point of view, I'm sure the committee can understand you might have concerns with that. But that's a private issue between you and the applicant.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with the licensing objectives or the licensing committee.
Yeah.
The licensing committee today are here just to determine whether or not a license should be granted or not. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I just believe you that, anyway, you've spoken, I would be quiet now.
No, I'm not prohibiting you or stopping you from speaking.
I know, it's not an issue which is relevant to this application.
Yeah.
It's an issue which is relevant to our objection to the application.
Right.
Because things that have happened in the past will be possibly or probably exaggerated or infuriated by including alcohol in the problem.
Right. Okay.
That's our concern. It's introducing alcohol into an already volatile situation. That's our concern.
Right. So what you're talking about is public safety or crime and disorder. That's
Yes.
Right. Okay. And
Yes.
those representations, Ms. Harris,
Based on the differences and antisocial behaviour that we claim they have done and they claim we have done. There's a certain amount of antagonism already.
Yes.
Adding alcohol to this
isn't going to help.
It's not going to help. That our objection to the license is, I mean, there are other things, but that's why.
No, thank you.
Exasperation of the situation induced by alcohol, late hours, antisocial behaviour in a confined area, very close to was a former property of mine, which number one neighbour Jerry now lives in. But yeah, so it's I'm going off track here, aren't I? So I'll stop. I'll stop.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Sorry, Chair.
Thank you all. Phoebe, please.
No, Chair.
Sorry, I just wanted to add. So I'm from the Boys and Girls Club. Sorry, I don't know if you heard me in the first time because my signal was dropping out. I just wanted to add, obviously, with regards to the license, a lot of their concerns, I think, come from a place of emotion and personal feeling, rather than actual direct relation to us having the license. With regards to the parking and all things like that, I discussed that with Peter and Nick, and essentially they're not necessarily related to the licensing objectives. So our application, we have tried to include how we will sort of encourage all of those 4 licensing objectives. We put clear points on how we're going to do so. And we're not there to try and argue with you guys. We want it to be a community place that you guys also can have access to, which we are missing in the area. A lot of your concerns will still be there whether we had a license or not, because the youth clubs are going to bring more parking. The CCTV is still going to be there. So a lot of your points maybe are still going to be personal concerns, whether we have the license or not.
Thank you, Phoebe.
That's the question.
I
don't know, Sandy.
We'll go to questions
If
after.
you want to write the question down, then that's fine.
Could I borrow a pen or someone then? Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hold on, Nick.
No, I went to Phoebe. She had dropped out.
Oh, sorry.
On the applicant earlier and come back in between.
Yeah, sorry guys,
Councillor
that was
Richards,
my fault.
please. Thank you, Phoebe. Councillor Richards.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick point. Chair, I'm finding it difficult to follow the discussion because people are speaking over one another. So could we just for us at home, just remind all parties, of course, everyone's allowed to speak in turn, but that will allow us to be able to listen and be able to hear and fully understand the points being made when people are over speaking one another. makes it really difficult for us at home to hear the point. So I just wanted to make that point, please.
Thank you, Anthony. Do any other residents have any statements? Jerry, please.
Thank you. A lot of the activities for the wellness hub don't actually require alcohol to be served. So, you know, the yoga and the fitness activities and the bingo and the Welsh learning and all of this, they don't need alcohol to be a successful wellness hub. And I think that should be a big consideration here. You know, these things that they're saying they're going to use the club for, you don't need to serve alcohol for any of that to be successful and for the people using it to be satisfied. And also, I think that a license from 9 a.m. till midnight, 7 days a week, is extremely excessive. Who needs to drink alcohol at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning? And also, I'd like to, I know that the parking is not part of this, but if you look at the survey, a lot of people say they use a car. So if they're coming to this place, having a skinful, they're not going to be able to drive home. And if they can't drive home because of the alcohol they've had, and they have blocked our access, we can't get to work the next day. I need to make that really clear. We can't get out of our drive if they park badly because they've left the car because they've had too much to drink. I really think it needs to be a lot less hours if it happens at all, and very carefully monitored.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Do any other residents have any statements? Phoebe, if you've got a question.
No, I was just going to go back onto the point, but if I need to speak later, that's completely fine.
Yeah, there'll be an opportunity after to raise.
Yeah, that's fab.
Right, now we've had all statements. We'll now move on to questions. So each party will have an opportunity to ask questions of any of the applicants, resident or officers.
Yeah, we've not yet gone to Nick.
Oh, apologies, Nick. If the police have a statement, could you make it, please, Nick?
Thank you, Chair. Police representations were submitted, which are attached to the committee report, which you've all had an opportunity to read. I don't intend to read all of those again. However, with some of the later documentation that has been submitted and some of the statements made today, I think there are a couple of points that need clarification. From the start, there was some confusion as to who is running the club, with different names being mentioned. It needs to be stressed that that actually is irrelevant. What is relevant is an application was submitted for a premises. That was considered both with location and what was said to be the purpose of the licence. During the representations, I felt it appropriate to reduce or request a reduction in the hours, to request additional conditions to try and mitigate some of the potential for problems and to reduce the impact as much as possible on the local residents. I am always aware that if there are issues with a premises, there is a recourse to review that licence at a further point. One question just to clarify something that was said this morning. Whilst parking generally does not come under a licence and a consideration, it can, if it is not controlled and becomes problematic, become part of a public nuisance, which is a licensing objective. And therefore, if local residents are encountering problems with that, that is something that can be addressed at a later stage. Finally, Chair, there was a submission made on behalf of the residents over the weekend, which asked a question so they could further understand the connection between a police licensing officer and the committee. I can say wholeheartedly there is no connection. In relation to the comments about a police officer being involved on the team or on the committee, I am, although I've been accused in the past of over-egging my importance, I am a very small part of a very large cog within South Wales Police. There are, including warranted officers and police staff, over 4,500 employees. In relation to the person who's been mentioned, I have to be honest enough to say I wouldn't know him if I bumped into him in the corridor. So there is no influence that has either been made by any person contacting me, and I can assure both the residents and the committee that I would take a very dim view in my role for somebody to ask to influence any decisions I was making, as I would take that as impugning or demeaning my integrity. The decisions and questions I've asked in relation to this application and the representations submitted, I think reflect an application for a licensed premises that is close to residential properties. But I believe that if all of the conditions are adhered to and efforts are made by the management of that premises, it should not have a significant impact. If it does, there are legal courses that can be taken to address those issues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Following that, we'll now move on to the questions. Can I start with the legal regulatory officer, please?
Thank you, Chair. There's just a couple of questions from myself. Go on for the applicant, and that is, having reviewed all the representation that we've received, the majority highlighted potential concerns of antisocial behaviour and noise. So given the fact that you've applied for a variety of licensable activities and the sale of alcohol, could you describe to us, while we're here now in the hearing, how you intend to control or how you intend to manage that then?
So we've got 4 licensing objectives: prevention of public nuisance. So we can provide prominent signs throughout the premises and at all exits and any external drinking areas, requesting patrons to leave in a quiet and orderly manner so as to minimise impact on residents. Smoking area closed at 2200 hours to minimise noise, and no drinks outside after 2200 hours. Staff will manage people leaving the premises to ensure large groups are not all leaving at once, and they have to leave quietly. Gradual dispersal of people will help manage noise. 30-minute drinking after cooling off periods, music reduced, no further drinks served, arranged transport from premises. Windows and doors all are to be shut at all times. We will get a decibel meter reader to check noise levels. The prevention of crime and disorder, door supervisors. The designated premises supervisor will risk assess events and decide if door supervisors are required or not. Written proof will be recorded as to why this decision was made. If ISA door staff are used, then a daily register of security personnel will be maintained. An incident and refusal log, so it will be all recorded and maintained at the premises. Always available for police and local authority officers if they would ever turn up. All training will be recorded in either written or electronic format and made available for inspection by police or any authorised officer from the council upon request. Refresher training every 6 months. Public safety CCTV system, so new CCTV to replace the existing system, always operating when premises is open to the public. Clear enough to provide quality images with facial identification. CCTV will be dated, timed and retained for a period of 31 days. Always someone on site when open that is able to access the CCTV and show to police upon request. And then protection of child from harm staff training. All staff trained before making any sales of alcohol. Training will include obligations and responsibilities under the Licensing Act 2003, including the prevention of sales of alcohol to underage persons, proxy sales, sales of alcohol to drunks, and the Challenger 25 scheme. We will have a Challenge 25 policy, need photograph ID with date of birth and holographic mark. Clear signs in place to show we operate a 25 policy.
Based on what you have said there, I can see from the police and the licensing officers request for extra conditions to be added there, that you, am I right in saying that you've agreed to them?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we do.
And the reduction obviously of the hours, as the terminal hours to, as stated within the report there, back to supply of alcohol to 10:30 with a terminal hour of 11 PM, allowing for the 13 to drink of time plastic. So what we're saying is then, if the license is approved, you would then approve today that you would comply immediately with them
Absolutely.
conditions?
Yes.
Okay. One of the other concern that was consistent in some of the representations we received was concerns in relation to sort of fire risk, etc. Can I just ask, have you obtained a fire report?
We're in the process of installing internal fire doors, upgrading the fire exits. So we're not at the point where we need the fire report yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And is that something that you're going to?
yeah, it's definitely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank
Sorry,
you.
guys, we had
That's all
communication. We did have one communication with the fire service, and they just said once it was up and running, obviously they would then come out to assess and let us know if what we've done is sufficient.
Just to ask, if people at home would like to say anything, could you use the electronic hand function and then to be brought in rather than shouting in?
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks.
That's all the questions for the applicant. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Cody. We'll now move on to, I'm sorry. We'll now move on to the applicant. So if you have any questions for anyone.
Oh, no. Oh, it's all been written in and just look.
Thank you for that. In that case, we'll now move on to questions from residents. If any residents have any questions, raise your hand. Ms. Howard.
Yeah, on about putting CCTV camera, that would be monitoring me entering and leaving my house if it's on the open land that's in front, which I do not own. I have never said I've owned. I said it is my right of access, which is they have blocked constantly. Again, this weekend we had issues over it. Again, this weekend we've had issues with rubbish, but it's a CCTV camera there. They can then see my comings and goings. I don't want people monitoring when I'm coming and going. It's my house. Why should people be watching me? Normally, you're not allowed to have cameras on people's houses. So why is
your house going just beyond?
it's on the drive? So you were monitoring me going in. Excuse me. You were monitoring me going in and out of my house. I don't want people knowing. I live on my own. So if I'm out of the house, they know I'm out of the house. So people will know when I am in and not in my house. Same with other residents. They know when we're going in and out. If the family on the end have gone out, cars have gone out, oh, that house is empty. We don't know. We've never had this problem with people monitoring us going in and out of our property.
Thank you, Ms. Howard.
Sorry, just to go back on that, in regards to knowing where you're going and coming back. So what's that trying to imply? I don't quite understand.
Well, would you like somebody watching your house when you're coming and going?
It implies a risk.
It's a risk. That people know that the house is empty. In this day and age.
It's only going to be the people on the committee that's going to have access to the CCTV.
I don't care. I don't know the people on the committee. I don't know who they know. I don't know what these people are like. Would you like a TV camera on your house?
Do you have any question?
Well, why is it? Yeah, I'm not happy about the camera situation. I'm not happy about the license situation.
Thank you, Ms. Abbott. Mr. Bailey.
Chair, members, and Ms. Abbott, if I could clarify, the request from the police is that the entrance and exit only. There is no request for CCTV to cover the car park, and the only other external area is the external drinking area.
Could I make a point to correct you? There is no car park.
Yeah.
The land, the houses have.
Which is why the only CCTV
will be on the door itself.
Will be on the door itself.
As long as it's facing down.
There is no requirement under the conditions that I've suggested for any CCTV camera to be targeted anywhere other than the entrance and exit. And the purpose of that is so that there is footage of whoever is coming in.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as it's not on.
So that if there is an incident there, we have a facial picture of potentially who's involved.
It was said
for us to
that
be able to
it'd be on
investigate. I hope that.
Yeah, that's fine.
It certainly is not our intention. I would never.
It's the same with the smoking area on the side. There's a public footpath there. So will this camera be just on that, or will it be covering?
It's requested just for the public areas in relation to the property footprint and curtilage.
Could I refer back to your earlier question about the fire safety? Give an eloquent answer, but the short answer was no, wasn't it? It's not approved.
It hasn't been submitted.
So the short answer that was the first that should have been was no. Yeah, and the fire service say they will come out. There's no time frame on that from when it opens to when they inspect. So I just want to clarify those 2 points. Go on, okay.
It will be before it opens.
Okay, that's fine.
It will open without that.
Okay. Yeah. My apologies to, is it Councillor Richards complained about the over speaking? I think that was aimed at me. So I'm apologising to the committee. It was not intentional in any way. And please rein me in to avoid that. Could I also ask, if it's pertinent, obviously, Councillor Richards, and is it Phoebe? I don't know what their home address is. How close to this licensing premises are they? They're in support of it?
Can I just say that's not relevant?
Not relevant. Thank you very much. Okay. Could I ask, is there an I'm not fully up on this, and I'm more speaking for Mrs. Howard because, like I say, I had to leave there the last time. Your existing clubhouse on the field, does that have a license at the moment? Alcohol license?
Yes, it does.
So what is the need for a second license?
Because the building is not fit for purpose.
And why is it not? If you mind asking, why is it not fit for purpose?
It's not.
I think it's relevant.
He's saying it's not relevant. They've already got a license for the football club. All the activities.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All the activities that they're
just obviously, this isn't the football club's application.
No.
This is a separate group's application. It might be the same people involved in both groups.
Right, okay,
but there's a separate.
As Jerry said, all the activities that they're allegedly going to do for the community in this boys club, none of them need a license. Alcohol.
Right, that's not relevant to the application.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from any other residents, please? No. Miss Ellis, please.
Would you consider reducing the hours of the license to make it not 9 AM? Why? I don't understand what the benefit is of being able to serve alcohol at 9 o'clock in the morning. It seems excessive. Would they consider reducing it to at least sometime in the afternoon? What's with the 9 AM?
I mean, yeah, there's no issues to us. I mean, as you said, nobody would be drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning. Not as far as we are aware.
And we want to work with the neighbours as well. So if they want us to reduce the hours in the afternoon, that's something we would look to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions, Miss Ellis?
No.
Thanks. Mr. Bailey, please.
Chair, in light of what the representatives of the applicant have said, what sort of hours would they propose, or would they be happy with? Would it be that would meet the concerns of the local resident? Would it be midday? Would 1 o'clock? What sort of hours would the resident propose? And what is acceptable to the club to try and get to a point where everybody is happy?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to propose a time that would suit them, and we definitely consider it. And
2 o'clock.
we go for 12.
Would it be appropriate after the match is finished? Would not people drinking during the match or before a match?
Again, it's not just for the football. It's,
okay, well, 2 o'clock.
There's going to be darts. There's going to be pool.
2 o'clock.
So you're suggesting, just to check, Miss Harvard, obviously it'll need to go back to Miss Ellis anyway, just in case she has a different time. But you're saying potentially 2 o'clock. You're saying potentially 12. Right. Okay. Miss Ellis, do you have any proposed time?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, later, like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon would be more appropriate, I think. I mean, if there's already a license, so the boys can, the football club can drink in their premises that they have a license for until 3, 4, 5 o'clock, I don't know, then there's no need for there to be a long one at the Boys and Girls Club.
Chair, probably what I would say at this point is this is the point that committee members can consider when it comes to the deliberation. If the licence is indeed granted, they've got the members then can sort of assess the times and look at potentially either 12, 2, or as Ms Ellis suggested, maybe 4 or 5. I can ignore the donation.
Sorry, can I just say something? There seems to be a lot of focus currently on what the football club will be doing over there. Again, there's going to be a pool table, there's going to be a pool side running from there, there'll be a darts team. It's not just the football club, it's the whole community. So although maybe the football club won't be drinking until after a football game, for example, that's not to say any of the, you know, there might be a darts tournament on there. You know, there could be things like that. There's a lot of focus at the moment on what the football club will be doing. Again, that's not the whole, it's the community. I think that should be taken into consideration as well, please.
Thank you. Ms Ellis, come back in.
If there's going to be a pool table in there, and there's already showers being built in there, I believe, there's not going to be an awful lot of room for this, the yoga and the aerobics and all the other activities that you sort of say are going to happen in there. So who is this actually, what are you actually going to be
Ms
serving
Ellis
here?
Sorry, Ms Ellis, it's not really relevant to the committee when deciding on the application, what the sports groups and things do in the building, you know, whether it's yoga, darts and all that. If we can just stick to things to do with the licensing objectives.
Okay. Darts can be done, pool can be done after 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah. New to this, and the list of cautions put in place, very admirable. But Mrs. Having myself, having previous occupations, being licensees of pubs, so as lauded as those set of rules are, there is a gap between what they would wishfully like to introduce with good intention and the public.
What they actually do.
You know, I've tried kicking people out of you will never get them out of a pub 30 minutes after stop time. Now, when you've been in pubs before, I'm afraid there's a gap between what's achievable and what is realistic and what they would like to achieve. That's our concern, which brings us back.
What's the question,
to
please,
social behaviour.
Mr. Davis?
Sorry.
Can we have a question, please?
Oh, okay.
We're still in the we're still in the question stage, Mr. Davis.
I do sincerely apologise. I don't, you know,
Mr. Davis,
wasting your time or not conducting properly. I apologise.
You will have an opportunity at the end to make closing submissions.
Okay.
This is the time for questions of all parties, that all parties can ask questions of others. That's the purpose of this section.
Well, so like you said, the licence to sell alcohol. What is its purpose? Is it a financial gain? Are you opening a bar in what is essentially a community space to finance the club? Or will your profits also go back into what these alleged community hub requires?
Yes.
So the bar is there to finance the club.
Obviously,
support finances the club, I should say.
The club needs finance to run itself.
Mm-hmm.
Especially volunteer run. It's volunteer. We're not we're not a non-profit. We're non-profit, so that would go back into the community to do more things for the community, to build more groups and stuff like that.
So are you non-profit or non-profit charitable?
Non-profit.
Non-profit, not charitable.
Non-profit.
Okay. Do you see the bar being a success and providing more for the community? That's the question. Well, you're opening the bar to raise funds. That's true, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So when you raise the funds and you're as a charitable,
Mr. Davis,
you're going. Am I going to target again?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry again.
It's not. I can understand why you're interested in such questions, but It's just not relevant to the application of the premises and the licensing objectives.
Just for my business, that's wasting a lot of your time. Could you briefly highlight what is relevant to the license so I don't waste your time talking about something? What are you looking for? If I'm allowed to ask that question?
Gavin,
I don't know what you're asking.
What's to know what?
Purpose of the committee.
you just went
What
through.
criteria you use to
What do you want to know from us regarding our objection?
what your criteria for allowing or refusing a license is?
Right, so there's 4 licensing objectives. Ms Harvard, I think in your representations, you've mentioned 2, one which is crime and disorder, the other one is public nuisance, I think it is.
Yeah.
The other 2 are public safety and protection of children from harm.
Right.
Those are the latter 2 are 2 objectives which you have not raised. Therefore, the only points that you can really raise in your any sort of submissions or questions that you're talking about is to do with public nuisance and crime and disorder. So if you've got any questions to the applicant or any other party regarding crime and prevention or public nuisance, you can say that. So for example, they've mentioned, for example, I don't want to do your job for you, but it's a question I was going to ask anyway, so if you don't mind, you could say, right, okay, in your representations, you've said that you'll take a decibel meter, right? What does that mean? It's a fair question.
That's what I'm saying. What does it mean?
No, I think, but it's things like that in the sense of clarity. So, for example, you take a decibel meter, right? Does that mean when there's regulated entertainment, you will be going out with a decibel meter every hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? Does it mean you'll be doing it once every 6 hours? Yeah. How does that get recorded?
So it'd all be in a risk assessment.
Well, hold on for a second, Mr. Morgan, bear with me. You know, there's questions, for example, that clearly that the residents, for example, are worried about noise and things like that. So, for example, would the applicant be open to some sort of, for example, WhatsApp group or something similar? So, you know, which would be manned at all times. So, for example, if a resident said, oh, look, it is being quite loud at the minute, someone could go outside to do a decibel meter reading or something like that. It's questions like that. Yes. That was an opposite of questions I put in. But I will ask you them, so it'll give you a bit of time. Yeah. But effectively, it's questions which.
So who's monitoring these people leaving?
Are saying that they will meet the licensing objectives, and as a result, the police and the legal regulatory service have said that they're happy with the conditions. It doesn't mean that the licensing subcommittee will agree to those. They may just decide to agree it with all the conditions. They may decide to add new conditions, take away conditions, they may decide to reject it. But what you've got to do is you've got to ask questions which are relevant. Okay. Because if you think that for example, the premises shouldn't be granted a license, then you need to ask questions which you think are pertinent and relevant.
Okay. They've said they're going to put signs up, be mindful, be quiet. Who reads these signs and takes any notice of them? When they're leaving that building, they're going to be talking, they're going to be closing car doors. This is all in a close proximity of our homes. So who's going to be monitoring them coming and going? I know they're saying they're putting signs up, which is brilliant. You can put signs up everywhere you like, but who actually takes notice of signs these days? And who's going to be monitoring them, the noise levels actually when they're leaving these premises, and not just the area in front of the building as the walkers walking past our houses? Who's going to be monitoring all of that?
The applicant is only, sorry to answer on your behalf, the applicant is only concerned with the premises itself and its sort of immediate vicinity in respect of, for example, the areas that they control.
So once they get into the area in the front, which they call in a car park, they're not responsible for any noise or anything that goes on in that area, then you say it?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, well, it's partly what I'm saying. I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to go through the conditions as it is. I think what the applicant has said is, and I can't find it at the minute, but they will risk assess whether or not there's need for, when there's regulated entertainment, they will risk assess whether or not there needs to be.
Who checks these risk assessments?
Can I finish the question, please, Ms. Harvard?
I know, I do apologise, sorry. It's just,
I tell you what, I'm going to stop. And you can ask any further questions and I will come back later. Because Miss Harvard, I don't want to be in the middle of answering a question and then I'm asked another question.
Okay, sorry.
I'm only trying to assist you.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
If you don't think my assistance is helpful, no, that's fine.
No.
Sometimes I'm very unhelpful.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to answer you. So if you want to direct any questions to any parties, please do so now. Thank you.
These risk assessments. Who's checking these risk assessments?
Myself,
And you,
I'll be the license holder.
right, and you'll be on the premises while the license is open, while they're open, 7 days a week?
Don't need to be.
You don't need to be, okay. So, that's all right.
You're not.
Oh.
Sorry,
Shut up.
no, you're sorry, so go first. Yeah, okay. So if you don't legally have to be there, the license holder, who's going to do the risk assessment stuff?
So I'll be the committee member.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Thanks for the answer.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Just to clarify, there seems to be some question about the risk assessments. If I explain why that has been requested as a condition, financially, to impose conditions requiring door staff can be crippling to many businesses. The requirement for members or the DPS or license holder to complete a risk assessment is my job is to check every day for incidents that happen in the Neath Talbot area involving licensed premises. If I then see that an incident has happened at a premises and it is during regulated entertainment or entertainment that is being provided, I then, as part of my job, contact the premises to ask whether they had door staff in place, and if they didn't, to see a copy of the risk assessment that they made that would evidence why they didn't feel it was necessary. If I believe that risk assessment is insufficient, I then would take action against the premises to ensure that further risk assessments either were sufficient and were carried out properly, or potentially review the license to request that the requirement for risk for door staff became compulsory as opposed to following a risk assessment.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's what I wanted
Some
to know.
confidence
Yeah, very
that
much.
either myself or the people in my role don't just put this on so that it is left and nobody will ever look at the risk assessments again. Sadly, if an event is held and nothing happens, then there is no need to look at their risk assessment. If there are complaints, and that can be either incidents involving violence or incidents involving public safety or any incident involving the licensing objective, I would then contact the premises to ask for a copy of their risk assessment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Miss Ellis, please.
Firstly, I'd like to clarify something here. None of us residents have ever had to do anything like this before, which is why it's kind of, we're not quite sure what we're supposed to be doing. It's also why, I know this was picked up in all the paperwork, a lot of our applications look similar because we went online and found a template to fill out. We're not like getting together and all colluding here. It was just, oh, we've never done this before. Let's find a template so we know what we're doing. We know what to do. Okay. With regards to the risk assessments, what would you expect to be a large enough event to require a risk assessment? Will it be 22 footballers coming up every Saturday, or will it be a big darts competition? What would you consider a big enough event to warrant your security staff or doormen?
Just every activity would be risk assessed.
And which ones would you expect to have doormen for?
Obviously, when there's a larger volume of people, that would be risk assessed, and door supervisors would be in place. Just for instance, again, I mean, there's just 4 or 5 people there on a quiet Sunday afternoon. There would obviously be no door supervisors in place. And again, the CCTV and things are there for protection of the staff and members of the public. That's all the objectives that I write up as well.
Thank you, Is there any other questions, Ms Ellis?
Yeah, so will the premises be open all the time that it's licensed, or will it only be sort of open at specific times? Like you said, like 4 o'clock then on a Sunday. So were you expecting to have the premises open all of the time that the licensing is there for, or will it be kind of fixed opening hours?
That would be hard to determine, but no, it wouldn't be like as it is at the moment, 9 till 12. It wouldn't be open 9 till 12. No.
9 to 11.
9 to 11. No, it would not.
So would we have notice when it is being open?
There'll be opening times on the door and online.
And obviously, like you said just now, we can make a WhatsApp group and we can let you know in the WhatsApp group what times we will be open. But our main issue is to work with you as well. We want to work with the neighbours.
Okay. Because that hasn't happened as of yet.
Thank you all. Are there any other questions from any other residents online? In that case, we'll now move on to questions from committee members. Do any members have any questions, please? Councillor Patterson.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. It's to the applicants. It's been mentioned about cars maybe blocking residents in if they arrive in a car and then drink too much and then they won't be able to move their car. How do you plan to avoid that type of occurrence?
So we've got an overflow car park over on the property.
All right.
So we've got that. So when we first moved, do you want me to speak a bit louder?
No, just about to look at.
So obviously when we first spoke to the neighbours when we first came, we said this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And we said we will leave that car park empty for the residents, even though it's nobody's land. We will leave it there for them because we want to work with them. So we will not park, we will be telling any person to come in not to park on that land.
Right. So would that then satisfy the person that said?
Again, we're back to the fact it's not a car park.
Is it an area where cars may park?
Yes.
It's an area where cars may be left without authority or permission, and they may park on what is on the land registry rights of access
to the houses.
To the rear lane. Those lanes, for a better word, are not defined in the ground. They are not tarmacked, yellow lined, showing the access.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so people park in the area anywhere they like, which causes problems for myself and my neighbours to get in and out of our property freely.
Without the building being open, people park there, but they get that issue regardless.
So could you just repeat that for me?
Yeah, people do park there regardless now, but most people, it's the home help for the lady across the road, they park tidy. People do not block our access. We had the Canal Society, they park tidy. We explained this access we need to get, yeah, fine. Since they've started work on the boys club, we've explained, can you keep the driveway? Because you have to take the full length of your car to get out of the drive because there's a stone wall. So you have to go, yet they continually park in front of the drives of my house and Shari's house as well, the two drive entrances. It's not my drive because it covers all houses. We've asked them repeatedly not to do it. And in all fairness, while they've been doing the work, there's one gentleman that comes, and I went on to him in the summer and I approached him and said how grateful I was that he acknowledged the fact that we needed our drives. The minute we all put complaints in, he started blocking the drives again. Why should he be comply to us when we've put in complaints in? That was his attitude. So this is the problem. If people are drinking and going to leave their cars behind, we can't get in and out of our premises. So how are they going to guarantee that people are going to use the overflow car park, which is up an unlit bypass or an unlit canal path?
I addressed the question to the applicants and we've gone on a little bit since then. So, but but you will be perhaps advising people attending your club not to park.
Yes. We could even put a sign up, please do not park over residence drive.
Yes.
I'm not aware of a sign being up at the moment.
Yeah.
No, there are no signs.
There are no signs, we never needed it.
Can I speak or am I speaking over?
Stop.
And you
Sure.
sort of draw a sort of dotted line then, if not a full solid line, between the responsibility of a licence holder's premises to look at when people are leaving or entering that premises where the licence is, to how far along the line is it not the responsibility of the licensed premises, but the individual not to do anything they shouldn't do. I mean, just because you go into and have a couple of pints in an afternoon in a licensed premises, that licensed premises is not responsible for you 10 minutes after you've left. What you actually do, you have personal responsibility to not do anything you shouldn't do. We can't lay it all on a licensed premises. The comings and goings, yes, and they have said that they would. I know you said that they don't read signs, but what would you want them to do if they couldn't put signs up?
No, that's what I'm saying. This is why we're objecting to the licence, because if somebody's got alcohol in them, there's more chance of them being noisy and disruptive outside of the building. That's all I'm saying. This is.
But it's not a definite, is it?
No.
And I do think, and if you bear with me, Chair, I do think that life may be different for the residents, but what we would be interested in is it a public nuisance? Now, you may be able to hear people speaking or chatting as they go in or out, but our responsibility would be to work with like environmental health to sort of see what the level is, because your idea of a nuisance and environmental health's idea of a nuisance noise, for example, could be poles apart. And we've, as a licensed subcommittee, we've like experience of people saying, well, I'm not happy with that. And then environmental health saying, well, actually, we've monitored it. It's not as bad as people are saying. So we do have within the council, even if this license was granted today, as applied for, and I know that there's been offers of reducing the times, that you may experience more noise than you were used to, but it might not be public nuisance noise. Do you understand? What we have to sort of be fair to the person applying, and we also have to be fair to the residents. And we rely on our professionals to take the decibel levels and to check that things like that are going on. So what I'm trying to say is, I think if the license were to be granted, you would not see no change at all. I think you have to accept that, there may be more people coming and going. There may be more cars. Would they all be blocking in?
Yes, if if more than 2-3 cars at the tops park in this space, we are unable to get in and out of our drives.
And we will tell them to go.
Right, I need to thank you, Chair, thank you very much. I'll just check on my diagrams for myself.
Refer to the notes about the parking.
Yeah, I've had those. I've got them online here. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Chair. I'll just digest this for a minute and I'll come back if I may.
Yeah, no worries. Councillor Richards, are there any questions you have in the meantime?
All my questions have been answered and have been asked by other people. I just wanted to make a brief point. there was a reference earlier to, you know, my role in this, and I appreciate that it can be confusing as I'm the county councillor for Pontardawe, but in the circumstances of which I am here, just to make it clear, I did mention at the beginning, but I'm a member of the Statutory Licensing Committee. I'm usually the chair, but I've handed over to Councillor Henton as I was unable to come in today. But I am here to consider the application impartially and in line with the Licensing Act 2003 and the licensing objectives. And I just want to put it on record as well, I have no personal association with the club, and I have no personal association with any of the residents. I may have met you at different events, etc., but from what I can see, there is nobody that I know in here today. So I just wanted to make that clear, just from a point that was made earlier, and also there was numerous people over speaking each other, not one specific. So just on that point as well, but no questions, just as they've all been asked.
Thank you, Anthony. Suzanne, you wanting to come back in?
Not really, Chair. It's regarding if the licence were to be granted today, there are, just to make the point that there are agencies which can monitor the situation going forward with regards to parking, and if it becomes nuisance, and that's the point that I was making earlier, noise, parking, whatever it is that you feel is not suitable for you as residents, there would be offices in the council to which you could make that claim. You don't necessarily have to decline to give the licence in order to make sure that there's no public nuisance, there's no antisocial behaviour, that type of thing, because that could actually come later on. It may never come. And that's the point that we have to sort of think about, is that these things, although suggested, may never come to be. And we can't sort of say to the applicant, I think one of the public residents actually said there was no need for a licence. That's not the point. The point is you're able to apply for a licence, and then only if that said licence were to become problematic would we actually say, you know, we don't actually say to the licence applicant, well, what do you need this for? That's not part of what it's not part of what we're here for. We're here to make sure that should a licence be granted, then the use of that licence doesn't actually become a public nuisance regarding to preventing harm to children, public nuisance, the full licensing objectives.
Can I just clarify on the word public nuisance? Does that cover on to, because the land in front where the nuisance may or may not occur is private land? Would the public, it still applies, that would still be a public disorder if the antisocial behaviour noise was on private land? It's to be covered by the law.
Yes. Legal officer, it would still, if
sorry, Councillor Patterson.
Sorry, I just answered the question, but I just wanted to confirm that it's correct. Gentleman asked if the noise or public nuisance were to occur on private land outside a licensed premises, would people still be able to complain about it under the licensing objectives, rather than say, well, it's private land, they can do what they like? We still have offices within the council that if noise nuisance, public antisocial behaviour nuisance, we would still take that even if it was on private land.
Yes, so
yes,
it would certainly be monitored, and sections such as environmental health and such sections could go out to have a look at it. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, so the answer I gave was correct.
The reason I asked that question is in the past, and nothing to do with the football club, we've had a number of abandoned cars.
It's the Boys and Girls Club.
So I was saying why I'm asking the question. That's the reason for the question. I need the definition of private and public, because on occasion when abandoned cars and stuff have been left there, when we've tried contacting the authorities to have them removed, we've been told
that would be a private nuisance, yes.
right, okay.
But
So
it's very case specific.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So for example, if there was an abandoned car which was on the area where cars park, but it then comes down to the owner of that property, and then it becomes a private nuisance between anyone else who's affected.
So would that also apply to someone who's consumed alcohol on their premises? And then I think the term abandoned, if they then park the car up, I mean, one night is reasonable, not unreasonable. We don't want people to get into cars, but I mean, I've seen instances where cars have been left and 4 or 5 days later, they've got the police aware stickers and stuff on them. So if someone was to not take the car, or it was to break down, and there was an unreasonable amount of time left there, is that then which side of the coin does that go? Is it the private land we sorted out, or public nuisance?
Factors, Mr. Davis.
Sorry, say it again.
It would depend on lots of factors. It's a very vague.
So there's no
a very vague scenario given.
It is, unfortunately, but we have had experience of it. That's why I'm asking the question, asking your advice on it, or your
case specific.
It's case specific. Thank you very much, Alan. I appreciate it.
Mr. Bailey, please.
Chair, sorry, as has been mentioned and offered earlier, of the use of a WhatsApp group, I suggest the best course of action in any of the vague circumstances you've mentioned is that you message the club on that WhatsApp group, and I'm sure they will endeavour to contact whoever's car it is and get it moved. Make use of whatever facilities they offer you in terms of regular contact and immediate contact with the club to try and reduce the impact.
Okay, I understand that fully, but just a slight confused now. The granting of the licence, their control of a difference in, as I understand, the granting of a licence, if somebody was to abandon the car on that land, that's not relevant to their licence, is it?
No.
Is it not?
Unless it's, of course, if what you're talking about public safety are at risk,
yeah,
and obviously there's very, very few instances where an abandoned vehicle caused public safety issues, then certainly if there's issues with that, then if, for example, the premises was given a license and there was telephone numbers and there was some sort of WhatsApp group, then in a situation like that, what residents would probably be better off doing is contacting the license authority themselves. And as someone mentioned earlier, I cannot remember who, so I do apologise. I think it might have been Miss Cody. If the application is granted and the applicant are not adhering to the conditions of their licence, then responsible authorities and or other persons, objectors, can make an application to review the premises licence.
Okay, in regards to non-conformity of the licence, as residents, and we had taken reasonable steps to talk to them and WhatsApp them, and it still continued, would we then need, I want a better word, evidence, footage of them using out the time, fighting in front of you? Would that,
yeah,
would that come? I know it's up to the license.
I can't give you legal advice because
Right, okay.
I'm the legal advisor to the committee. I'm not your legal advisor. I'm not the applicant's legal advisor.
Oh, my apologies.
There's nothing to be apologetic about.
So we'd have to get legal advice ourselves then if we were having issues. Yeah.
As I've said, if WhatsApp communication was unhelpful and then there was
6 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to go to work and you need somebody to move a car, I don't think a WhatsApp group is going to be very good. Because they're blocked. Because we can't get out and people need to go to work. It's no good WhatsApping somebody, can you come and move your car?
Can you just allow the applicant to?
Yes, sorry.
I can confirm there will be nobody leaving their vehicles unattended.
Okay, that's fine, right? It's fine.
Right,
I'm at a record now. No, there's nobody stays on this. So none of this is on record, is it? Well, you're looking at me like I've asked the wrong question.
The meeting's recorded.
Oh, right.
So technically it is on record then.
Right, thank you.
Anything
Yeah,
recorded
thingy.
is really,
Yeah, it is.
anything recorded in this meeting is public.
Okay,
record.
that's okay.
Public record, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, councillor Patterson,
Thank
please.
you, Chair. I think we're in the realms of like, it's obvious that you do not wish this license to be granted. I'm hoping that should it be granted, there will be some sort of cooperation with the licensed premises if it was to happen, because as I explained earlier, when you have a licensed premises, your road, your life will slightly be different. We cannot say it won't be different. What we will try and make sure is that it wasn't damaging to you, and therefore noise, parking, sometimes it's a little bit subjective. What is a nuisance to you might not be a nuisance to our environmental health. They may say, well, that's within limits and that's within limits. So to sort of come to the meeting and say, well, that's on record, that's not going to happen, is it? No, we can't say that. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying that should problematic behaviour happen, there are avenues down which you could go. And to say, like, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would presume that you would see that car was there as people may be leaving the premises. So if you had the opportunity to give them a quick call and say, what's happening with that car?
Yeah, but if they're open till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I won't know if that car's been left there. If I'm up at 6
I'm just making an example.
Yeah, I know, but this is what I'm saying. As a person living right next door to this building, these issues regarding people with their cars and in and out of leaving them at the premises or parking at the premises. Yeah, we'll have a WhatsApp group and you can ring, but it's not really real, is it?
You will have things that might be different, and I'm not saying you won't. But it's just that we're trying to make sure that it's not repetitive and systematic and problematic. So one-offs may happen, yes. But one-offs may happen right now with no licensed premises there at all.
Yeah.
You know, you said you've experienced problems with parking already.
Yes, while they've been working there, and when they weren't working there, we've not experienced any problems. The Canal Society parked tidy. We explained to them we needed access. They parked tidy. The problems have started since they've started working on the Boys and Girls Club. So if it's like that now while they're working on it, what's it going to be like in the future? I've lived there all my life. When the Boys Club was open, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, they had clubs there. The amount of problems, one with parking, children running around outside, they were told they would keep the children under control. They were playing football on the area, which is onto a main road. There was lots of issues. And I think unless you actually come up and see the area, and we live there, but if you come and see the area that they're talking about, outside smoking area is on a public footpath. The fire exits, they're going to do them, admittedly, I'm not disputing that, but there's a lot of work because when the Boys Club was built originally, we didn't have all the laws regarding disabled people. There is no wheelchair access from the back of the building, from the double fire exit doors at the back. The fire exit is on the side, leads on to an overgrown area.
If I could just interject.
Right now, but this is what I'm saying.
It's all things that we rely on professionals outside the committee. It's our job to sort of make sure that the licensing objectives are, if not definitely, then there are avenues through which it can be controlled. So the fire risk, that would be seen to by the fire service. They wouldn't issue a statement about the property unless they were happy with it. And that's why I'm saying you're not a fire expert, we are not a fire expert, but we would rely on the fact that the fire service have given their green light to the fact that it's safe. So we do rely as well on other avenues regarding noise, public nuisance. There are things that further down the line, should a licence be granted, you're not going to be able to stop them altogether, but our job is to make sure that should something happen, you have redress.
Should this licence be granted, would the fire service have to give the okay before any alcohol is sold on that premises?
Just come in on that part. So my question that I asked earlier in relation to if this fire risk report to be done, that was based on something I just wanted to find out if it had been done, only because the consultation period that we have to go through, and as part of that we send out the application to all responsible authorities. The fire service is one of them authorities, so they have been sent the application. They would have had the full 28-day consultation period to have responded. They did, and there was no objections from them that was raised. I just asked whether or not a report then is going to be submitted from the fire service. And as the applicants have advised that they've made contact with them, and they have stated that they're going to come out once you put measures in place, is it? Just put measures in place. So that's to know that, one, obviously they've been aware through our consultation period, which we have to, and two, obviously they've contacted them directly and they've given them measures of what to put in place, and then they'll call out and carry out that report then that they will then have on the premises that will advise them further in all fire aspects.
Okay, thanks.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you all. I can't see any more hands up now. So we're going to move on to questions from the police. Mr. Bailey has any questions?
No questions, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. And lastly, our legal officer, Gavin.
I have a few questions, Chair. It's just because I think earlier on, just trying to go through what it was, apologies. I think Mr. David, I think you reeled off a number of conditions. They were reeled up quite quickly. So if I can probably have a copy later. But I just wanted to. Yes, please. I'm not too sure whether I've got it. There seemed to be a little. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. There seemed to be a few things which I hadn't picked up on. So, for example, you mentioned, I think there'd be refresher training. I'm not saying misheard. I thought there was refresher training every 6 months.
Yes.
I couldn't see.
Yeah, it's on the first page.
Oh, thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you. So I've seen some of the conditions already, and I just wanted to sort of make sure that I hadn't sort of missed anything, because I couldn't see anything in the packs regarding refresher training. If this license were to be granted, obviously there's a number of issues that the residents have. Yeah. So I suppose if I was just to sort of go through them, I've made a sort of a list and gone through. If, for example, the CCTV weren't working, would you be prepared to inform the licensing authority within 24 hours, for example, if CCTV wasn't working?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned that. Would you be happy to provide a local residents of businesses with some sort of mobile phone number or telephone, yes, which would be manned at all times, or WhatsApp group or whatever? Yes. That way, then, if there was any complaints or anything like that.
100%.
Okay, thank you. I think doors. I think I've read that. I think it goes back to the decibel question, which I raised earlier on. So obviously, you mentioned in your submission, you've mentioned in your representations on your submissions here today regarding a decibel system. Yeah. Sort of, would someone proactively check every hour, 2 hours when there's regulated?
And especially if obviously the residents put in the WhatsApp group, guys are a little bit loud, that would be more than happy to go and take a reading.
Okay. If, for example, there isn't anything from the residents, are you still going to be carrying out those checks? Yeah. Is that every hour, every 2 hours? How does that work?
Every hour, I think, would be.
Okay.
acceptable.
Okay. Would you? On that basis, would you be happy for some sort of, I have to go through these a bit more thoroughly, just to make sure it hasn't been included, but would you be happy for some, obviously you've talked about refresher training and there'd be a book for that and there'd be various books. Would you be happy for a sort of a noise disturbance book? So for example, it may not be required because I imagine if the residents, if there's a WhatsApp group, then.
So sort of incident report box.
So, sort of, yeah. Incident report book is slightly different.
That's just for the.
Yes, that's fine. And that'll, I'll think of relevant wording, but I imagine it'll be things like if the license were to be granted, it'd be things like date, time, what the issue was, and how it was resolved, and who it was resolved by. You said earlier on that you're willing to put up signage regarding red signage. Is that no parking on the car park area, or just to is that
just no parking over the driveway? Obviously,
no parking on the driveway. Thank you.
That's.
I'm sorry, I've really got to read this quite again. It's not a car park.
And to put no park, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but to put no parking signs over the driveway, you need to be able to reverse out of the drive the full length of your car. It's a big issue. I know, sorry.
Okay, can you refer to it as a car park? It's not a car park.
Okay, sorry.
Refer to it then.
It's the crux. It is the crux of
cars if we want to be like that.
Okay.
I'm happy to describe it like that.
Yeah.
All right. But and you're happy to put signage up in that area. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a driveway. It can be anywhere in that area, which will notify patrons, for example, or anybody attending the community hub that they're not allowed to park on driveways. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. There was one other question which I've got highlighted and I can't remember whether it's been included. I've got something along the lines of clear and legible notices regarding, I think it was there something about drugs policy? Or I thought there was something about check-in. I don't think,
No.
there wasn't that, was there? That's fine. I thought there was, but I thought I'd read something about it. Not that they'd been anticipated or anything like that. I thought it was about searches or something.
Is it the sales of alcohol to drunks?
Or maybe I've missed.
Yeah.
Maybe, sorry, apologies. Then on that basis, that doesn't need to be included. Thank you very much. No further questions, Chair.
Thank you. I'm Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make it perfectly clear that even if you were part of a WhatsApp group and were not compliant, but notifying of any disturbances, that doesn't take away your right if you feel there's something too noisy to apply direct yourself to environmental health.
Yeah.
Or any other department or the police. We would obviously like residents and the licence holder to have plans in place to deal with things, but it wouldn't be your only course. That's what I'm making clear here, that you don't have to do that. We would like you to do that if that were needed, but it doesn't take away your right to complain direct to the council or to the police about anything else that you feel should be looked at. Just trying to make that clear.
Thank you, Councillor Patterson. Thank you. Right, just to check before we move on, are there any other questions people want to ask? No.
Right.
Mr. Davis,
we're talking over now. Your reason for leaving the other building reads as not fit for purpose. I mean, you mentioned the junior clubs. I'm afraid. No, I'm against this, and then you can judge. So you increased juniors, intending to bring them into a building with alcohol. How are you going to control? Does that become no? Okay, I'm done. going to go because I'm obviously not helping. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
I don't think there's much more to add. I'll just finish off. We have no objection to the football club. The parking has been an issue for 30 odd years with other clubs. We concern is putting alcohol into the mix. That's it. Yeah.
No, Mr. Davis.
No, I'm sorry.
Go on.
You're coming across very.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's not sure the right word, but so I want, intense, argued situation. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. Angela, I shall wait outside. Yeah.
Chair, on that basis, perhaps you want to move to, if there's no further question, you may want to submissions.
Yeah, but just to say though, in regards to the question he did ask just before going, I believe that would be largely covered by the challenge 25 and those sort of regulations to avoid sale of alcohol to children.
Which is in the.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll now move on to summaries. Not summaries, sorry. Closing statements. I'll start with the residents for closing statements. So Miss Harvard or Miss Ellis, if you've just got any final statements put in.
I'd just like to ask that the hours, we agree the hours, or the hours are agreed to be reduced to what they are, as I said earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. Ms. Harvard, do you have?
Yeah, the biggest issue is the hours, 7 days a week. Why? I don't understand. And they say that they'll put a note up of the hours. So these hours are going to change from week to week, day to day. So it's a bit, or is it going to be a set lower hours with set days or set times, or is it just going to be open for whatever they want? So I want to know, is it going to be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I think what they explained earlier depends on what events are going on.
Yeah, so it'll change as when it's needed.
Yeah, like a lot of community centres.
And like I said, the only other issue is the parking that goes with or doesn't go with the boys' club, especially if people are drinking, because now with the new drink drive alcohol limits, people will be abandoning cars or possibly abandoning cars, or they are leaving them up on the overflow car park, which is up a bypass or up a, so I don't know. That's the only thing that's the biggest issue with us as residents, the fact that we're going to have people with alcohol. And before they say there used to be a pub across the road, yes, there was a pub across the road and that closed down, but we never had the noise because it was slightly further away from us. And that's my biggest issue with the times. Monday, 7 days a week. Why do you need a license 7 days a week for those hours?
Thank you, Ms. Howard. We'll now move on to then closing statements from the applicants, if you have any.
Set out in statement.
Thank you. Well, in that case, the committee will now retire for. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you,
I
Chair.
haven't got you down on the sheet.
Thank you, Chair. I believe from the discussions and agreements that have been reached during this hearing that we have initially an agreement to reduce the terminal hour. We are now in a position where we have an agreement to reduce the opening hour. And I think it must be clear, or must become clear to the residents, that there is going to be a significant difference between the hours the building can open as a hub and the hours that they can sell alcohol. And I hope that when the committee decide what is an appropriate time to begin licensing hours, that will allay some of the residents' concerns. I am certainly quite happy if the opening and beginning hours for the sale of alcohol are pulled back, and the applicants have agreed that they're happy to that. So from the position of representing the chief officer, I'm happy that the conditions and license, if the committee are deemed to approve it, are a significant change from what was first applied for. And I think we must all go back to what was originally applied for and to see the room and the movement has happened since then. And that if the conditions agreed are complied to, there should be minimal, and I stress minimal rather than no, disruption to the local authority, to the local residents. And I'll speak with the local residents afterwards as to what their options are, should that not be the case. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. The committee is now going to go to retire for deliberations. You'll be notified then in due course of what the decision is. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.